Hello and welcome back to my channel, Dr Nic Analysis. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that this journey for me started in a haphazard and accidental way. Specifically, I was making a video for my students about the therapy that I research, a therapy called ACT, and I wanted to do it in an interesting way, and so I used a song called Hi Ren by the musical artist Ren Gill, because I thought it was such a brilliant song. It had such really strong themes in it that would cater themselves really nicely to the teaching of the ACT model. So I started in that, created the video for my students, and then a bunch of other people went on to watch that video and find use from it, which was really lovely. Since that first video, I made another Ren Gill video called about the song Sick Boy, but I also did an analysis of the Charlie Maxey book, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse, which I hope that you'll like. Now, in the comments of the Ren Gill songs, a bunch of people said that I should take a look at the video How to Be Me, and so that's what I'm going to do in today's video. I haven't done a lot of research on where this song came from, but some people that left comments said that this song concerns one of Ren Gill's friends from the past who apparently committed suicide. I'm not sure if that's actually what happened. I'm not familiar with the history, but I'll probably interact with the video as if that's what's happened. Now, if that is what happened, I think it's really important to start the video by saying I'm sorry that Ren went through this, and if anyone else out there is watching this and has been touched by suicide, then I'm sorry for that pain that you have as well. You think of, you're doing a video reaction and you want to bring an energy to it, right? An enthusiasm and a positivity almost to it. We've got a song here that concerns death and pain and suffering and loss and suicide, and so it's gonna probably be a struggle to be really positive and upbeat and stuff, but I think that's okay sometimes to be real and to sit in the dark and to sit in the mud and just to be there a little bit. And so I'm sort of, there might be almost like an interesting tone or an interesting feel to the video as a result of the fact that it's this topic. Yeah, all right, so I'm gonna press play and we'll see what happens. When you listen to the song, knowing the history, it changes the song. You know, if I was listening to the song without knowing the history, I would think, oh, that was a nice intro. But when you know the pain that sits underneath this, it makes you as the viewer feel emotional yourself. Like, I feel emotional, and I don't want to do that in these videos in like an inauthentic and melodramatic way. You know how like some videos people get upset about stuff on camera because they know that that's a way to wrap viewers into the video. I don't want that sort of channel. Like, everything that you see needs to be real, but like as I'm watching that, it does make me feel emotional because I feel as though at some point in the past, I assume it was Ren who wrote the song. It might have been, I think this is obviously Chinchilla, who I don't know a whole lot about, but at some point someone thought the pain of this, what does it sound like in music? And someone thought, I think I've got it. It's going to be something that is like, has depth to it, a sound that has depth to it and is almost like haunting. Like that sound that I'm not going to try and do it because I can't sing, but that sound was like a haunting sound, wasn't it? And I think that sets the tone for the song and the content, or what the backstory is to this song.
Don't feel safe in this bed. There are voices in my head. I've been talking to the dead, and the fear baptized me. My kingdom turned to dust, and I watched all my riches rust. Have I lost the Midas touch, or do sad eyes blind me?
Okay, there was lots there. There's three things that I think I want to talk about, and I bet I forget the last one now because I'm under pressure with the camera rolling. The first thing that I want to talk about is that last line, that sad eyes blind me. I wonder what was meant when those lyrics were written. Like, I can interpret them. Obviously, the way that I interpret them might not be the same way they were meant. But like, sad eyes blind me. I think that when we look at the world through our eyes, and our eyes, they show us a world of colour and a world of hope and a world of opportunity and a world of positivity and optimism. And then some stuff happens. And then those same eyes that we have, they look out into the world and they see different things. They don't see so much colour, they don't see so much hope, they see maybe more pessimism and more cynicism. And that line is interesting, isn't it? Like, sad eyes blind me, as in like the way that I look at the world has changed now as a result of this thing. And obviously the thing that has probably given Ren sad eyes, these eyes that see different things now, is the suicide of his friend. So that's like the first thing that was there. The second thing that was there was kingdom. Is it like kingdom fall into dust or something like this? Like the word kingdom, right? It reeks of strength. It reeks of like untouchable. Like you never consider that a kingdom can fall and then something happens and that thing that appeared so strong just crumbles. And I think that in this situation, chances are that Ren hadn't been touched by this sort of pain before, and if anyone else out there is listening and has been touched by this sort of pain before, it can feel like the world is crumbling around you, like your kingdom is crumbling. Not just like your view of the world is crumbling, but it just feels like the world is crumbling. And so I can really sort of get why that language was used. There was another thing right at the beginning of it. I'm going to have to rewind it because I just want to make sure that I get it.
In my head, I've been talking to the dead.
That was it. So like there were voices in my head, right? People always go to psychosis or something like that. No. Like we've all got voices in our head. We've all got that inner voice that is talking to us in various ways. But the thing that, so I don't find that particularly remarkable. I don't think that's something that we need to stop with. As in, like, if your friend commits suicide and you're lying down in bed at night, what do you think your mind is going to be doing? It's not going to leave you alone. You're not going to lie in bed and have a really peaceful sleep. No, of course you're not. Your mind is going to be trying to make sense of this, try to make sense of the act of it, try to make sense of the pain that you feel, and your mind is not going to be a peaceful place. And so yeah, you've got a voice in your head that that is scary and making you not feel safe. Yeah, okay, that I think that's par for the course when this sort of thing happens. But it was that second thing that he said about talking to the dead. People traditionally would see that as a sign of madness, talking to the dead. But I remember reading a book a while back. The book was called something like All the Ghosts in the Machine. It was by Elaine Casket, and this book is talking about like how death is different in the modern age through like social media and whatnot, and it's really interesting. Anyhow, she talked a little bit about like views on death cross-culturally, and actually it's a really common thing to have someone die and to still speak to them, to go for a dog walk and be speaking to the person that has left this earth. And apparently it serves a functional use as part of the grieving process. And so if you're out there and you've sort of lost someone recently and you find yourself talking to them, don't jump straight into the, oh, I'm very strange for doing this. Don't fall into that hole, because you won't be strange for doing that. All right, I'm going to press play.
I've been talking to the dead, and the fear baptized me. My kingdom turned to dust, and I watched all my riches rust. Have I lost the Midas touch, or do sad eyes blind me? Over and over we go, over the hills and the valleys below. Oh, and it follows me home, and it suffocates me.
Do you know what I love about Ren's music? It's not tokenistic, is it? Like, it's not sort of just like, I'm gonna write a song, I'm going to put some words to it, and then put some music to it, and then I'm going to put it out there and hopefully make some money. Like, it's not that. In fact, a lot of the songs that I've grown up with and love, do you ever find that, like, you sing them, and then one day you look at the lyrics and you're just like, they don't even make sense. The lyrics don't even make sense. Like, he doesn't do tokenistic stuff. Everything that I've seen him do is meaningful, it's real, it's related to experience. And there's something so authentic and captivating about that I really appreciate. Now that little like chorusy bit there, over and over, the valleys I go, did you notice that it said, it follows me? It follows me. In other words, the voice, the pain, the suffering, the making sense, those thoughts and feelings that aren't particularly nice that happen after an event like this, they follow him no matter where he goes. And that in some ways is what separates us from animals, is that because of language, we can bring pain into any moment, no matter where we are. So you think of, I don't know, this might have happened years and years ago for Ren. Temporally and situationally, time has gone on, and he could find himself in a totally different part of the world, and he will just see that one thing that cues or triggers a memory of his friend, and in that moment all of the pain can just come flooding back. Like, he cannot get away from this for the rest of his life. Like, this has happened, and like, you can't just delete memory. And so you can understand when he says it's suffocating. It suffocates me. Like, there's no getting away from this. Like, one of the big advantages that we have as human beings is our language. It allows us to problem solve in ways that other animals can't do. But these like advanced cognitive abilities, they also mean that we are able to bring pain with us wherever we go, even if we're miles away, both temporally and situationally, from where the pain actually happened, which is tough for us, isn't it? It's tough for us, that.
I can't breathe. I said, oh, I can't breathe. All I know safe.
There were two things there that were interesting. One is this idea of I can't breathe. When people go through trauma like this, that's a really common experience, that struggling to catch breath sort of thing. Like, those lyrics haven't come from nowhere. They've come from a time where Ren was somewhere on a sofa by the sea in a field, where he was so devastated by this event, he would have been struggling to breathe like this. Like, there are no throwaway lyrics in these songs. Like, this all came from somewhere, and that gives you an insight into the pain, which takes me back to what I said earlier on. Like, you know, I'm gutted for him that he's gone through this. I'm gutted for all of you if you've been touched by it. I've been touched by it, and you know, it's a rubbish pain. So that was the first thing about that. The other thing was obviously the last line, like, how to be me. I've forgotten how to be me. You know, I teach about personality, and I teach about personality change over the course of a lifetime. And like, people interact with the idea of personality as if it's a fixed thing, as if we're sort of like born into a certain way of being, and then that dictates how we are across all the situations in our life, as if we've got like these fixed personalities. And yet there was this piece of research that was done, and I'll link it, or I'll put a picture of it in the on the screen, that showed personality change across the lifetime, and it just shows that it fluctuates so much. As in, like, we're not the same people as we were when we were 10 or 15 or 20 or whatnot. Like, it changes. And of course, like, how does it change, or why does it change? It changes because we go through stuff, and that changes the eyes that we look at the world through. And so he's saying, I've forgotten how to be me. It's not that he's forgotten how to be me. It's that he can no longer be the me of before this. Do you get me? Something significant has happened for him. And that, like, his way of being prior to this event is something he can no longer get to because of this event. There's almost like a mourning there, isn't there? Like, it's not just mourning the loss of his friend, he's mourning the loss of himself, as in, like, he's now a different person as a result of the experience. And I think that that's something that a lot of people have to go through. Like, even me, my wife sometimes says to me that, you know, when I met her, I was a little bit like a puppy, like a golden retriever, just like bouncing all over the place, saw the good in the world, saw the good in everybody. And then some stuff happens in your life, and you're no longer the puppy. And sometimes I mourn that. Sometimes I think, I wish I was the puppy again. But I'm not. I can no longer be that person. It's not that I've forgotten. It's that things have moved on because of life.
In these holes, there are bruises on the wall.
Just gonna rewind that bit a second. I want to watch it from the beginning of the paragraph.
Safe in these holes, there are bruises on the walls, there are bodies in the floors, and they breathe so loudly. I wish I could move, get up and walk right out this tomb. Do our saviors die too soon? For my sins surround me over and over.
So you can see this. I wish I could get up out of this tomb. I wish I could leave this. I wish I could not have this. It speaks to the theme that I already pointed towards earlier on, which is the idea that our pain follows us around because we've got these advanced cognitive abilities. So as much as he wants to not have this pain, the pain is there. And it's about figuring out how to live with the pain, because there's no magic wand to get rid of it. Like, as soon as we open ourselves to love in this world, then pain is coming. Yeah? If we decide at some point to love someone, to give someone our love, and something happens to that person, we are going to feel pain. Or, like, some people might think, well, it's better never to have loved at all than to have loved someone and lost them and feel this pain. But like, you look at the research on human relationships and the importance of connection, and it's the right choice. The right choice is to choose love even though pain is coming, even though pain is a stone's throw away. And so that's the first thing that I wanted to mention there. The other thing was, he said there were bodies in the floor or something, and they whisper so loudly or something like that. Like, the ghosts of our past, they don't leave us. And to begin with, that can cause us a lot of pain. But in the long run, I think that it's a really comforting thing that the people that have been meaningful to us, they stay with us, offering us their wisdom as we go through our lives.
Over we go, over we go, the valleys below, always below, follows me, and it suffocates me. I can't breathe, I say no, I can't breathe, oh no. Gave up the fight, a quick decision late in the night that stayed with me for all of my life. I miss you so.
That last bit of the song, he talks about, like, God, where are you, or something like this. I think when we bounce through our lives and we get caught up in the rat race, and then in these moments we're reminded that life is finite. We're reminded that death happens. We're reminded that one day we are going to breathe for the last time, and then we're going to cease to exist. And our minds are, just get your head around that. To get your head around death, man, it's such a hard thing to do. And then we get on with our life again, and, you know, la-di-da-di-da, we get stressed about not washing the dishes, or the dog doing a poo on someone else's lawn. You know, like, we get back into the swing of life really quickly, because, do you know what, if we were to stay in the headspace of trying to figure death out, it would swallow us up. And in fact, I think it's like the second season of a program called The Sinner. I think it's the second season. It basically is about this idea that a man is getting swallowed up because he cannot get his head around death, and he's trying to look at it and figure it all out and stuff. Now, like, some people in those situations, they look to religion, and so it's interesting that sort of like Ren was like, God, you know, looking to God for answers. And I can certainly understand why people do that, because they're just trying to make sense of the situation. But for those of us out there that don't necessarily have, like, strict or defined spiritual beliefs, like, we essentially have to accept that, one, death is part of the human experience, and two, we probably haven't got any answers, and we'll probably waste a lot of time trying to figure out those answers. Like, what happens after death? Nobody can tell us, really. And so, you know, it becomes an issue of pragmatism. Like, how do I want to spend my time on this earth? Do I want to spend my time being swallowed up by this puzzle that probably is unsolvable, or do I want to try and put my energies elsewhere? And then, of course, in the song, there was also this how to be me thing again. And Ren's version of me, of him, is different now, and it will continue to grow and continue to be different. I think the really interesting thing about that is that sometimes the stories, there's nothing wrong with that, right? That is a functional and useful way for us to have this really flexible view of who we are, and our personalities fluctuate and change across time. And the reason why that's useful is because sometimes we build stories about who we are, and that those stories can actually over time function to imprison us. So, you know, if I've got a self-story of, I don't know, I'm not good in social situations. I am not good in social situations. Maybe that self-story will stop me from going to social situations, which will limit my chances at human connection. And so, like, this idea of a me that can be found, of a me that that should be stable and shouldn't change. If we can let go of that, and we can see our personalities as fluctuating across time and space, that are linked to like our human experiences, then I think that we cease to be imprisoned by our self-stories. We get to continue to evolve, and we get to continue to choose things that bring us meaning, even though our mind is saying, you can't do that because you're not that sort of person. And so maybe that's a positive to take from the video, that like this how to be me, it latches onto an idea that there is a me that is fixed inside us that we can lose. Whereas if you have a sense of self that fluctuates, or that changes, or that molds organically throughout time, then there's no me to be found and lost. The me is the what's behind your eyes that is constant and consistent across your lifespan, rather than the stories that you build about who you are. Because I think that's what he's probably talking about. They're like, how to be me, as in I was this sort of person and I had these sort of personality traits and I can't find them anymore. Where are they? That real me. No, you're still real you. You're still the same you. Just the eyes through which you look at the world are slightly different now because of the event, and that will impact like how you hold yourself in the world. Okay, I finished. That went on longer than I expected. It's a beautiful song. It is sung with like emotion. It's real. Like they're there. They're holding this event and this memory of their friends while they're doing this. It wouldn't surprise me if they almost came out of this and they were like, oh right, there's cameras here, because they were so in it, which is beautiful to see, and it's really engaging, and it helps us to be with them and to feel with them as they're going through this pain and this suffering. The more I watch of Ren, the more I want him to be in a position of power and influence when it comes to dictating what society is like. And I'm sure I'll look at more of his songs in the future. I hope you've enjoyed the analysis, and if you want to subscribe and like and do all those sort of things, then I'd appreciate it. And do comment. It's been lovely to get comments from people across the world. Okay then, all right, take care, and I'll see you next time.